Okay, we're going to take a look at how we can develop a program, and we want to look at it in terms of using something like a flow chart to think through the process. That's a very important thing that we need to do when we look at creating programs and projects within Visual Basic, C++, and other types of programming languages. We're going to take a look at a very simple project. We're going to look at developing and using a couple variables as well as doing a calculation and then displaying output. I'm using a program called Visual Logic, and so let's take a look at this program. We are going to look at creating a program that will calculate the amount a worker will make at a pizza shop if they are paid at a rate of $10 per hour. Anytime we work on a program, there are several things that we want to think about. We want to think about the algorithm or the process that we're going to use to solve that particular problem. So if we were to look here, there are several different things we need to think about. First, we need to think about the variables that we will need to solve the problem. If we were to think about this simple problem, we would see that we need to know several pieces of information. Those being the time worked by the employee, the pay rate, and also the amount that would be due that employee whenever they were paid. The second item that we need to think about is developing a formula for calculating the amount that we would pay the employee. So again, in this case, we would be looking at the time worked times the pay rate. And then finally, the last part of the answer would come whenever we would want to display the appropriate answer for the particular project. So let's go over here to the right and take a look at how we can work this by creating a flow chart. You'll notice that when we create a program, it shows a beginning and ending point for the program. To add information, I simply click and can add portions in. This would be true with most tools that you would use for developing a flowchart. This would be true if you were using something like Visio or Raptor. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start filling in pieces of information. So let's take a look at the pieces of information that we're looking at. We're going to start out by putting in time, and we want to put additional information in, such as how much time we worked. So we're going to ask the program to ask a question, which is going to say how much time was worked. Okay. Once we've done that, we now need to add the rate. We know that we pay at a rate of $10 per hour, so we can put in rate, and of course that's going to be equal to 10. Now we want to do a calculation. So we're going to calculate the pay. And again, we're going to assign a value by doing a calculation. So we're going to set our pay, and we're going to set it equal to time times the rate. Okay, and now that we have our pay calculated, the last thing we would want to do is display the output. And when we look at displaying the output, we would want to put something in like telling us what the pay was and the pay amount. So I'm going to set up a phrase here that I'm going to paste in, and we're going to say that the pay is equal to, and we're going to use an intrinsic function that allows us to format the pay in dollars. This is something that you won't really deal with till later on, but just want to show you how this actually works within Visual Basic. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and you can see I have the program all set up to run. Again, if we look through the logic of the program, we take our input, which is time, our rate, which was $10, multiply it out, and then do output. This is the same basic process you will use in almost all programs that you write. I'm going to come up here and we're going to test this program, and it'll ask me how much time was worked. Well, I'm going to put 14 hours. So if the employee worked 14 hours, you can see that it's going to go through and calculate that the pay would be 140 hours. Okay, so whenever we go to set up programs, any of the programs that you do, you should be going through and thinking through your programs in this same manner. It is important to create some type of flow chart or pseudocode to drive you through to allow you to do most of your thinking up front. If you will do your programs this way, you will find out in the long term that you will become much more efficient in creating programs, because as you become better at working with the programming language, once you have thought through the process, then it is just a matter of typing the code. And as you become more familiar with the code, it will become easier and quicker for you to write effective programs.